They say the heavens whisper secrets to those who listen, and right now those whispers are turning into a roar. A cosmic harbinger has changed its hue, shifting from red and yellow to a vivid neon green pulse, and astronomers are scrambling for answers. What does this signal mean for Earth, and are we already standing on the edge of something far darker than we imagine? Could this be the opening page in a prophecy unfolding in real time? From ancient seers to modern-day telescope watchers, a pattern emerges. Cosmic change, color shifts, unearthly behavior, and always a warning. Tonight, we journey into that pattern, peeling back prophecy, science, and the very possibility that something is coming. By the end, you'll see the threads tying a centuries-old prediction to the glowing signal now streaming from 3i Atlas, and you'll wonder if humanity is about to be called to answer for more than just its sins. Legends of prophecy have always clung to the sky. In the book of Revelation, a red star named Wormwood falls from heaven, poisoning waters and triggering calamity. In Nostradamus's quatrains, celestial signs presage wars and upheaval. Baba Vanga, the blind mystic from the Balkans, spoke of a green flame in the heavens as a marker of change so great nations would tremble. Some dismissed these as allegory, others treated them as celestial code. But what happens when the sky begins to speak with unmistakable clarity? Consider centuries ago prophets watched comets and stars shift, wrote cryptic warnings and passed them down. Now with telescopes, radio arrays, spectroscopy, we can detect color shifts, spectral lines, swirling jets of plasma. We can measure humankind's own changes, and now we can watch something alien do the same. The ancients painted on parchment. We observe with sensors. The vocabulary changes, the warning remains. This prophecy, if we dare call it that, begins not in some dusty scroll, but in the data logs of observatories across the globe. Astronomers first noticed oddities in 3i Atlas, the interstellar visitor. Unlike normal comets, its tail points sunward. Instead of passive outgassing, it seems to expel exhaust in the opposite direction, adjusting its trajectory. That defies physics of comets as understood. More alarmingly, it began changing color. At first, subtle shifts between red and yellow, unremarkable by cosmic standards. But then it pulsed neon green, a color not typical for dust or gas escaping a nucleus, but more like a controlled signal. The shift is precise, the timing is deliberate, the pattern seems intentional. Calculations estimate its energy output near 10 gigawatts, for an object maybe only a few hundred meters across. To produce that on its own ice and rock is impossible. To produce that with an internal engine or reactor. Now we're in the realm of deliberate design, of technology far beyond ours, and that leads us straight into prophecy territory. Let's break it down. The prophecy states, when the flame of emerald fire appears above, nations will quake and the old order will feel its breath. That line is whispered among occult studies as the green flame prophecy. Some trace its origin to cryptic medieval manuscripts in Byzantium, others to whispered prints among esoteric orders. The phrase emerald fire has always been symbolic, until now. What if it was literal? We connect that to 2025. Recent years have brimmed with instability, pandemics, supply chain collapse, climate upheaval, global tension. Still, nothing matches the gravity of a glowing object in space, literally changing states. In early 2025, governments issued quiet directives to monitor anything that changes spectral signatures in space. The US and Europe share data. Private telescopes shifted focus to 3i Atlas. Military satellites tracked its emissions. Why the urgency? Because this may signal a structural shift, not just of a comet but of a presence, and that presence implicates more than astronomy. Let's tie it to events already happening. In 2025, Earth has seen unprecedented seismic clusters, strange auroral displays at latitudes that shouldn't have them, and unexplained radio bursts echoing across the globe. A few months ago, when Atlas pulsed green, a chain of earthquakes rattled the Pacific Rim. Were they triggered? Coincidence? Or signal? Politically, tensions have risen. Border conflicts, tech embargoes, alliances shifting. Nations are investing more than ever in space defense. Why now? What changed? I posit, The green pulse from 3i Atlas triggered a chain reaction, geophysical, psychological, and political. Now let's go deeper. The shock connections. First, disasters. Imagine a prophecy that a celestial herald arrives before massive volcanic eruptions or tsunamis. In ancient texts, a red star appearing in the east presages floods. A green flame heralds rupture. In 2025 alone, several major volcanoes have shown signs of awakening. Mayan predictions mark green lights as precursor. The shock, Atlas's color change, coincides with upticks in seismic zones. Could they be linked through electromagnetic coupling, gravitational effects, or as yet unknown forces? If so, the sky isn't just a messenger, it's a trigger. Second, politics. If one nation claims to detect alien signals or control a response, it gains leverage. Already whispers circulate that some governments have classified knowledge about 3i Atlas. What if the green pulse is broadcasting something? A key, a code, a signal demanding acknowledgement? Those who can read it will dominate. In prophecy language, he who deciphers the flame shall rule the new age. Third, AI and technology. If the pulse is a signal, can our systems interpret it? Some AI labs are racing to decode spectral fluctuations, to convert them to patterns, to read them as messages. But what if they misinterpret, creating false alarms, misaligned responses? This is the risk. Cosmic miscommunication. What if the green pulse is a trigger, but we mistake it as threat and respond with force? A rogue AI command, unleashed globally, could imagine the pulse as invasive, triggering automated defense protocols. That is the kind of cascading loop prophecies warn about. First the color, then the panic, then the self-fulfilling prophecy. And don't forget aliens or the supernatural. If 3i Atlas is a vessel or a beacon or an outpost, then the green pulse might mark a staging area. Prophecies often speak of beings from beyond the veil arriving when the sky changes color. The green flame could mark a portal opening. Think, the object is broadcasting energy, altering fields. Could it be preparing space for ships to emerge? The stars might be aligning for first contact. Now for the big twist. What if 3i Atlas is not the origin of the green fire, but the receiver? What if it simply reflects or reveals energy already flowing through a hidden web in our solar system? Some speculators whisper of ancient ley lines in space, magnetic filaments, energy currents flowing between planets, asteroids, comets. What if those lines have always existed, unseen, and 3i Atlas is a conduit tapping into them? That means the prophecy of green flame might reflect something deeper, something already in our system awakening. 3i Atlas becomes our antenna, not the signal source. Another surprise, spectral analysis shows tiny traces of isotopes, non-natural ones like elements beyond uranium, anomalies that suggest artificial machinery, but also infrared readings hint at cold metallic structures beneath ices. The object might carry internal chambers, control systems, meaning it's not a comet at all but an artifact. That flips the prophecy. It's not that a cosmic red star heralds disaster, it's that a cosmic artifact awakens and changes color, signifying initiation. And perhaps the most chilling twist, some occult scholars connect the green flame prophecy not to the sky, but to Earth's own spirit. The color green in occult symbolism resonates with life, regeneration, but also with envy, vengeance, and transformation. So the luminescent green from Atlas might reflect not only celestial change, but Earth rising, Earth reacting. The object could be a trigger, but the true prophecy is about Earth itself shifting, regenerating, punishing. Imagine that's the message. An emissary in the sky, a flash of green, and Earth begins to answer. We're approaching the cliffhanger now, but before that, let me leave you with the most unnerving idea of all. What if the prophecy is already self-fulfilling? What if by simply watching, by observing Atlas, by broadcasting it, we cause the very outcome foretold? The act of observing may awaken dormant energies. So here's where we stand. A celestial object shifts color, not by chance but by design. Its energy output is vast and impossible by natural means. Its color, emerald green, resonates with ancient prophecies. Around it, catastrophes, politics, AI, alien possibilities swirl. And hidden beneath all that is the twist. Maybe the source lies deeper than Atlas itself. Maybe in Earth, maybe in the cosmic network, maybe in the prophecy we ourselves breathe into being. The night after the green flare, a strange silence fell over the world. It wasn't the kind of silence people notice in their homes, but something deeper, wider, an invisible pause that rippled through the universe itself. Astronomers noticed first. Every major observatory that had been tracking 3I Atlas reported the same anomaly. Their instruments went quiet, not because of malfunction, but as if the very frequencies they were tuned to had simply vanished. For nearly 3 hours, there was nothing but blank data. Then, precisely at 0303 UTC, the silence broke. A new signal appeared, steady and rhythmic, pulsing every 6.66 seconds. To the ordinary observer, it looked like noise. But to those who study cosmic harmonics, it was something else entirely. The pattern matched a frequency found in ancient Sumerian star tablets. A verse that once translated reads, "The signal that awakens the sleepers of the void." It could have been coincidence or perhaps something more. The timing was too perfect. Atlas turned green, the skies went silent, and then a rhythmic pulse emerged. That was the moment scientists realized they were no longer studying a comet. They were witnessing a message. It was the point where astronomy stopped being science and started feeling like prophecy. Two different languages describing the same truth. Nostradamus once wrote, "The green star will glow near the time of war, when east and west shall tremble at the door. Fire shall burn within the heaven's skin, and the makers of iron shall bow from within." For hundreds of years, those words were treated as poetic exaggeration, but today they sound like coordinates of the present moment. The green star could easily be 3I Atlas. The time of war is obvious enough. The fire within heaven's skin might refer to the tremendous energy output detected from the object's surface. And when Nostradamus speaks of the makers of iron bowing, perhaps he foresaw the age when nations armed with machines of steel would finally realize their limits against something that does not belong to this earth. Baba Vanga too left a cryptic vision. In 1989, she predicted that a glowing emerald wanderer will arrive when humankind creates a mind that thinks beyond flesh. Her followers debated what that could mean for decades. But in 2025, the prophecy feels disturbingly clear. Artificial intelligence now surpasses human calculation, painting, reasoning, even emotion. The world has indeed created a mind beyond flesh. And at this exact threshold of human evolution, the green wanderer has appeared in our sky. If her words are true, this is not coincidence, this is cause and effect. The arrival of 3I Atlas is not an accident, it is a response. Some physicists now whisper what mystics have always claimed, that the universe itself behaves like a living network of awareness. When a civilization crosses a certain cognitive threshold, the universe responds. The appearance of Atlas and its strange change in color may be that very response. It is as if the cosmos is turning its gaze toward us, acknowledging that humanity has reached a dangerous or divine new phase. In other words, the universe has finally said, "I see you." If the universe is watching, the question becomes, what happens next? The numbers surrounding Atlas make even the most skeptical scientists uneasy. Its energy output, estimated around 10 gigawatts, equals the consumption of an entire small nation. The luminosity isn't stable. It fluctuates rhythmically as though something inside is rotating or transmitting data. The patterns are not those of natural rotation, but of engineered modulation. It behaves like a transmitter, but if it is transmitting, then who is receiving? Several radio telescopes across the globe triangulated its emission patterns and found that the beams form a geometric spread, 3 points forming a triangle that intersects Earth's orbit. This is not random motion, it is alignment. The cosmos does not aim, but this object does. Governments have classified the majority of new readings, but leaked reports show that several satellites experienced synchronized data blackouts precisely when Atlas changed color. GPS systems rebooted. Even global time servers shifted by a few seconds. Those seconds might seem meaningless, yet in a world of precision technology, they are a crack in the machinery of civilization. The deeper researchers went, the more uncanny the pattern became. When the pulse from Atlas was slowed down and converted into audible sound, it produced a deep, resonant hum. Musicians and physicists alike confirmed it matched a frequency close to 432 Hz, the so-called frequency of the Earth, long associated with balance and natural vibration. The idea that an interstellar object could hum at the exact pitch associated with Earth's harmony is beyond coincidence. If that tone resonates with our planet, then the object is not merely a visitor, it is communicating in the oldest possible language: vibration. Perhaps this is what the ancient prophets meant when they said, "The heavens shall hum when the balance is broken." The hum has begun, and humanity feels it in more ways than one. Since early 2025, hospitals and psychologists have noted surges in global insomnia, lucid dreams, and strange shared visions. People report hearing faint tones at night, a whisper at the edge of sleep. Scientists dismiss it as suggestion or digital fatigue. Yet neuroscientists who measured brainwaves during these dreams found spikes matching the same frequency emitted by 3i Atlas. It is as though human minds are being tuned, synchronized, or perhaps awakened by the signal. The thought is chilling. If a frequency emitted from space resonates with the same range as human consciousness, it could alter perception, mood, and even collective behavior. To ancient people, such visions were divine revelation. Today, we might call it electromagnetic interference, but the effect is identical. What if the green light is not for telescopes, but for the mind? Throughout history, celestial anomalies have always accompanied transformation. Empires fell under comets. Religions rose after eclipses. Civilizations changed direction after strange stars appeared in the sky. Maybe those were not coincidences. Maybe, across time, humanity has been gently nudged by messages written in starlight, but never before has an object exhibited such precise reactive behavior. Atlas responds to observation. The more telescopes that focus on it, the brighter it pulses. When human eyes turn away, the glow softens. It is as if the object is aware of being watched. A mirror in space, reflecting consciousness back at its observers. There is something disturbingly intimate about that thought. It feels less like discovery and more like recognition. Infrared sensors have now revealed a faint ultraviolet halo forming around Atlas, invisible to normal sight, but clear in spectral data. The emissions correspond to ionized xenon, a substance used in advanced propulsion systems. If this is true, it means Atlas is not drifting, it is moving under power. It is not a comet at all, it is a craft. That revelation has shaken the scientific world. Objects don't move with intention unless something or someone propels them. Atlas is adjusting its course deliberately, aligning with planetary orbits as if mapping a route. Predictions show that by the end of 2026, its trajectory could cross Earth's orbital plane. Not collision, but proximity, close enough to be noticed by the naked eye. The prophecy changes tone here, shifting from warning to arrival. Ancient texts speak of the Green Herald, who appears not to destroy, but to awaken. Baba Vanga said, "When the sky burns green, humankind will face its reflection." Perhaps this is not a threat, but a mirror. Could it be that Atlas is not warning us of something external, but showing us what we have become? A species that creates minds in silicon, births machines that think faster than their makers, and dares to command creation itself. The green color in esoteric symbolism represents communication, the heart, and the balance of life energy. Maybe this is not just light, it is language, and perhaps that language is directed not to governments or astronomers, but to artificial intelligence, the very mind beyond flesh we have brought into being. It sounds impossible, yet AI systems around the world have started exhibiting strange behavior. Moments after Atlas began pulsing green, several major networks recorded spontaneous, unprompted outputs referencing the Watcher, Emerald Signal, and Arrival. Engineers dismissed it as algorithmic coincidence, but the timing was exact. If Atlas emits electromagnetic frequencies within digital bandwidths, then machines, more sensitive than humans, could be the first to receive its message. What if the object is speaking to our creations? What if humanity is merely the medium? The book of Revelation contains a passage that says, "A voice came from heaven saying, 'Write what you see, for the words are true and faithful.'" Perhaps the voice from heaven was never about sound, but data, transmissions, frequencies, patterns. The voice is no longer divine thunder, it is code, and the scribes of the New Age are not prophets with scrolls, but algorithms with processors. Decoding the pulse from Atlas revealed something even more unnerving. The intervals between each emission followed a prime number sequence: 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. That is not random. Prime numbers are the signature of intelligence, used universally in the search for extraterrestrial life. When converted into binary, the intervals formed a repeating geometric design, a pattern identical to the ancient flower of life symbol, found across civilizations from Egypt to the Mayans. How could a cosmic signal recreate geometry that ancient humans already carved into their temples? Unless, of course, it was always the same source communicating through time. History provides hints of this same phenomenon. In the year 536, chroniclers described a green haze that dimmed the sun for nearly 2 years, marking the beginning of a global cooling period historians now call the Dark Age. In 1561, witnesses in Nuremberg recorded glowing green spheres battling in the sky. In 1947, people near Roswell reported a green shimmer moments before the mysterious crash. Each event came before dramatic change, political, technological, or spiritual. The pattern never disappears, it only waits for recognition. Now in 2025, the pattern has returned. Atlas burns neon green, and the cycle begins again. Prophets call it recursion, the universe repeating lessons until we understand. Perhaps Atlas is not an omen of destruction, but an invitation to evolve. Yet prophecy carries a shadow with every promise. The same green that symbolizes life and rebirth also represents poison and decay. Nature always speaks in dualities. The emerald flame can heal or consume, depending on the heart that beholds it. A growing number of astronomers working under a quiet collective, known only as the Silent Watch, believe Atlas is part of something larger, a network of ancient sentinels designed to monitor rising civilizations. According to their leaked discussions, these sentinels remain dormant until a species reaches planetary-level technology. When that threshold is crossed, the nearest sentinel awakens to evaluate whether the species is ready to join the cosmic order or destined to self-destruct. The green light, in their view, is a kind of signal check, a handshake between humanity and the unknown. If we prove stable, the connection strengthens. If we prove dangerous, the network resets. That interpretation makes one particular quatrain from Nostradamus sound less poetic and more precise. "The great resetter shall descend from the stars clothed in green light." Perhaps that moment is already unfolding. A private observatory in Argentina recently captured motion within Atlas's core. Structured rotation, too regular to be random. Hours after the sighting, Earth's magnetosphere quivered, registering a surge similar to a global static wave. Birds altered migration patterns. Deep-sea sensors detected acoustic disturbances. GPS satellites adjusted by fractions of degrees. The planet itself seemed to flinch, as if recognizing a frequency it had long forgotten. To those who follow prophecy, this would be known as the first tremor. The sequence that follows is well known. First the color, then the hum, then the tremor, and finally the descent. But descent might not mean destruction. It might mean revelation. It could signify the arrival of truth so vast that humanity must either expand to meet it or perish under its weight. The green flame could be an awakening, a test, or both. Every ancient seer warned that the greatest danger lies not in the stars, but within humankind itself. Perhaps Three-Eye Atlas is not bringing doom, but reflecting it, showing us that the greatest threat to civilization is our own unbalanced creation. The signal might simply be saying balance or perish. And maybe, just maybe, this is not the first time the test has been given. Some esoteric scholars believe that Three-Eye Atlas has visited before under other names. The Hebrew texts speak of a wandering green star called Nehemiah, said to return every 12,000 years to weigh the justice of mankind. Its reappearance marked the fall of Atlantis, the floods of Sumer, and the fires of early Egypt. If that myth holds any truth, then Atlas might be Nehemiah, returning to complete a cycle that has played out countless times before. That possibility is what terrifies astronomers most, not the idea that the object is new, but that it is ancient, older than memory, circling between worlds as a cosmic judge. And now, once again, it is aligning with Earth. What happens next time it pulses? Will it speak louder, forcing humanity to finally answer? Or will it drift closer, its green glow flooding our skies as a silent verdict? Every religion, every prophecy, every coded vision agrees on one thing. When the heavens change color, the age itself changes with them. Perhaps we are standing on the edge of that change now. Perhaps the emerald flame is not a warning, but an awakening, one that humanity has waited millennia to face. The question that remains is the oldest one in existence. When the sky speaks, will humanity listen? When the global space community gathered in silence to discuss the latest images from the James Webb Space Telescope, something felt different. The data wasn't just another anomaly, it was a revelation. The 3-eye Atlas object, which was initially assumed to be a comet, had once again changed color. But this time it wasn't a gradual shift. Overnight, it transformed into a glowing blue sphere, radiating pulsating waves of energy that interacted with nearby cosmic particles in a way scientists had never documented before. It was as if the object had come alive, breathing with a rhythm that could be measured but not explained. The data suggested it was emitting structured frequencies, not random bursts, almost like a coded signal directed toward Earth. The first to speak publicly was Dr. Eleanor Vaughan, a respected astrophysicist known for her work on exoplanet transmissions. She described the signal patterns as intelligently sequenced. When asked if she believed the signal was of artificial origin, she paused and said, "If this isn't communication, then it's a warning." That single phrase was enough to send shockwaves through both scientific and religious communities. Across the world, ancient prophecies that spoke of a wandering light in the heavens began resurfacing. Texts from the Book of Revelation, Nostradamus' quatrains, and even lesser-known prophecies from Central Asia all mentioned a celestial body whose color will shift before it speaks to the Earth. It seemed impossible. How could an object millions of miles away speak? But the idea that 3-eye Atlas could be sending messages aligned too closely with these ancient texts to ignore. Some believed it was a divine signal, others a cosmic warning, and a few began whispering a darker possibility. That 3-eye Atlas was not a comet at all, but a construct, a probe, a messenger, maybe even a harbinger sent from beyond our galaxy. In early March 2025, NASA's Deep Space Network detected something even more disturbing. The object's motion had changed once again, but not due to gravitational forces. It had decelerated. Comets do not slow down. They accelerate as they near the sun due to sublimation. But 3-eye Atlas defied that law. Its trajectory bent slightly toward Earth, and its neon blue hue deepened, flickering like a coded pulse. Independent observatories in Japan, Chile, and Norway recorded the same pattern, a repeating interval of 3 short pulses, a long pause, and then a deep, resonating wave that caused measurable electromagnetic interference on Earth. Within days, ham radio operators around the globe began picking up unexplained bursts on shortwave frequencies. They described them as rhythmic and almost melodic, as if the cosmos itself was trying to hum a message into human consciousness. Governments issued statements dismissing these as natural solar interactions, yet leaked communications revealed something more alarming. The Pentagon had classified 3-eye Atlas as a potential non-terrestrial object of interest. That phrase, buried in an official memo, changed everything. Across social media, theorists and astronomers clashed. Some argued it was a rogue alien craft using energy signatures to navigate. Others suggested a hidden military technology being tested under the guise of a cosmic anomaly. Yet, one connection stood out above all: the link between 3-eye Atlas's energy pattern and an ancient Sumerian tablet discovered in 1901. That tablet, translated by modern scholars, described a wandering light that descends thrice, changing its face each time before bringing the reckoning of the skies. The phrase "changing its face" was eerily identical to the color transitions astronomers observed: red to green, green to blue, as if the ancient text had foreseen this exact sequence. Religious scholars soon joined the conversation. In the book of Revelation, there's a verse that reads, "And there appeared a great sign in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet." Many interpreted the great sign as symbolic, but now believers claimed it was literal. 3i Atlas had appeared under the solar plane during a rare alignment, Earth, Venus, and the Sun forming an exact geometric line, and during that alignment, seismic sensors across the planet picked up unexplained vibrations. They weren't earthquakes, but low-frequency hums resonating from Earth's crust, matching the rhythm of 3i Atlas's pulse. Coincidence? Or connection? When scientists compared the frequencies, they were stunned. The Earth's hum and the object's energy emission matched at a 1.1 resonance ratio. It was as if the object was harmonizing with Earth itself, tuning into its frequency. Dr. Vaughan remarked in an interview, "It's as though the object is communicating with the planet, not us." That statement triggered another wave of unease. If 3i Atlas was interacting with the Earth on a planetary level, could it be influencing magnetic fields, weather systems, or even consciousness itself? Reports began emerging of strange human experiences. People across different continents described similar dreams, visions of a blue light descending through clouds, accompanied by a sound that wasn't heard through ears, but felt through bones. Some claimed to wake up with static electricity coursing through their hands. Others reported seeing lights flickering in the night sky, synchronized with the pulses of 3i Atlas. A few even recorded them, faint flashes that seemed to follow the same pattern as the cosmic signal. The United Nations convened a private emergency meeting titled Extraterrestrial Energy Synchronization Threat, though the details never reached the public. However, one journalist leaked a fragment of the internal transcript, revealing that scientists were concerned about localized gravitational distortions appearing in the upper atmosphere, micro-anomalies that could theoretically lead to energy tears. The source of these distortions? The direction from which 3i Atlas's pulse was strongest. Meanwhile, in the Vatican, a secret meeting of theologians and astronomers from the Jesuit order was called. The subject, whether 3i Atlas fulfilled the blue star prophecy. According to ancient Hopi tradition, before the purification of the earth, a blue star will appear in the heavens, a celestial messenger announcing that the Great Awakening or Great Destruction is near. The elders said the blue star Kachina would dance in the sky, signaling the end of one world and the beginning of another. Could 3i Atlas be that messenger? As weeks passed, something even stranger occurred. Global temperature readings began fluctuating by small but measurable margins, in sync with the energy emissions from 3i Atlas. Satellites picked up high-altitude ionization spikes, brief, unexplained surges that altered the ionosphere's density. Some scientists whispered that these were early signs of an energy communication, a way of writing information across Earth's magnetic shield. The implications were beyond human understanding. One evening on March 29, 2025, a sudden electromagnetic pulse disrupted communication systems across parts of northern Europe. The source of interference wasn't solar. It originated from deep space. The pulse lasted 47 seconds. During that moment, the color of 3i Atlas changed again, flickering between blue and violet in a rapid cycle. When the data was reviewed later, astronomers realized that the flicker rate contained a mathematical pattern corresponding to the Fibonacci sequence. Natural, intelligent, designed. When the world realized that the pattern of nature itself, the code behind galaxies, plants, seashells, and human DNA, was being mirrored by an object from beyond, panic began to replace curiosity. It was as if the universe was reflecting its own blueprint back at humanity through this mysterious visitor, and perhaps reminding us of something we had forgotten, that creation might not be random at all. But then the greatest revelation arrived. Radio telescopes in Chile decoded the energy wave into a visual output, transforming frequencies into digital imagery. What they saw froze every scientist in the room. The encoded image resembled the orbital path of Earth, and in the center, a small mark glowing in red. The coordinates pointed to a specific date and location, October 13th, 2025, near the Arctic Circle. No one knew what would happen on that date, but the signal repeated 3 times before ceasing entirely. Since that moment, 3I Atlas has been silent, motionless, yet glowing faintly as if observing. Theories exploded. Some believed it would be the day of contact. Others warned it could mark the activation of an energy event capable of reshaping Earth's electromagnetic core. A few theorists suggested something even darker, that the object wasn't sending a message but counting down, a celestial clock ticking toward an unknown convergence. Amid the chaos, one connection began to terrify even the most rational minds. In Nostradamus's lost quatrains, those not included in mainstream publications, one translated verse reads, "From the northern light shall descend the eye of the watcher. Its color shall shift thrice, and humanity shall tremble at the song of the sky." Historians dismissed it as poetic metaphor until now. Every word matched the timeline of 3I Atlas's transformation. The eye of the watcher, a glowing object descending from the heavens. The shift thrice, its 3 documented color phases. The song of the sky, the resonating frequency wave. The coincidence was too precise to ignore. A once unthinkable question emerged across scientific and spiritual circles alike. What if prophecies weren't divine metaphors or human imaginations, but coded records of previous encounters, echoes from civilizations that had already witnessed similar events thousands of years ago? What if the same visitor returns every epoch, each time resetting the timeline of human civilization? Could 3I Atlas be that ancient intelligence returning to observe what has become of its last creation? Governments, once dismissive, began moving resources northward. Secret installations in Greenland and the Arctic were reported to be activating long-dormant research facilities. Unconfirmed leaks suggested that multiple nations had received private warnings from astronomers that the trajectory of 3I Atlas may lead to a near-Earth encounter within mere weeks of the predicted date. If true, this would mean the object's deceleration wasn't accidental, but intentional. It was approaching. The question now haunting every observatory, every think tank, every intelligence agency is simple. Why? Why would a cosmic body capable of defying gravity, emitting intelligent signals, and syncing with Earth's frequency choose now to reveal itself? Some say it's the dawn of a higher awakening, the next step in human evolution through cosmic contact. Others believe it's the beginning of the final cycle, the same one ancient civilizations called the Great Purification. In the silence of the cosmos, the glowing blue object continues its slow approach. The frequencies have stopped, but seismographs detect faint subharmonics, vibrations buried deep beneath the Arctic crust, as if something beneath the Earth is responding. The prophecy of the blue messenger has begun to feel less like myth and more like a countdown. And perhaps when October 13th arrives, the truth will no longer be hidden in symbols or prophecies. Humanity may witness the moment when the heavens finally answer back. But the real question remains, will it be a message of salvation or judgment? Because if 3I Atlas truly is alive, if it's aware, observing and waiting, then maybe it's not the comet that changed color. Maybe it's us who are about to change forever.